Welcome to Hannity, and tonight you may want to check in on your Democratic friends. They're not really seemingly doing very well. Trump derangement syndrome, radical rage is on the rise, and perhaps no one has it worse than our old friend or old Twitter buddy, Alec Baldwin. Take a look.
My kids live in this building, right? But I want you to know something.
We love the children. We're doing great deals for the children.
Listen to me real careful.
Okay.
If this camera was here, I'd snap your neck in half and break your neck right out. So you know that, don't you?
I mean, you can't make my message to Alec Baldwin, that'll be coming up, but I do hope he takes my advice, but the odds are pretty low. It is obvious why many on the left are so triggered. Not only did Trump win a second term in an electoral landslide, taking all 7 swing states and beating Kamala Harris by millions of votes in the popular vote, but now that he's president, well, the winning continues. I'm not sick of it either. Anyway, breaking only hours ago, a deal with Ukraine has been negotiated, giving the U.S. a vested interest in Ukraine's vast supply of rare earth minerals, critical to our country and critical to them. This deal will help Ukraine pay off its war debt, rebuild their country. It will link our two countries together. And after days of panic from the state-run legacy media mob, Trump did what he did best. He made a deal. And now Ukrainian President Zelensky is headed to the White House on Friday to formally sign the agreement. Ending this war is in everyone's best interest. We don't need more people dying. We don't need more buildings blown up. The fact that Donald Trump has been on the political scene for so long and they know so little about him is actually frightening. Let me give you a clue. For those of you in the state-run media mob that I know are watching, here's a clue. And those of you on the left, he is in a perpetual, nonstop state of negotiation, and he puts America first. Just keep those thoughts in your head so you don't bubble and fizz like Alka-Seltzer in water. And back in the Oval Office, President Trump celebrated another momentous day with a brand new hat. Let's take a look.
Look. Yes. See that? Trump was right about everything. It just came in. Somebody sent it. I said, this was sent in by a fan. I said, I think we should make some of them, right? But we were, pretty much. You want one?
I'll pass.
Are you allowed to take one? Because
not.
he'll consider it. I know him well. He's sort of a stiff.
I said you're right.
Brian, you're not a stiff. He's sort of a stiff guy. You know? He'll take other things, but not a free hat.
What, they're going to get in trouble if they took a hat. As you might have noticed, President Trump was once again surrounded by reporters. This is by far the most transparent, accessible White House in modern American history. In fact, in his first month, Trump answered more than 1,000 questions from the press, from interviews to press conferences to speeches, gaggles, the behind-the-scenes videos. President Trump is seemingly everywhere. His agenda is being felt far and wide. Illegal border crossings are down almost 100%. The FBI and DOJ, which had been weaponized and politicized, is now getting dismantled. Major companies, look at Apple, they're now pledging $500 billion to be spent inside the U.S., building a plant inside the U.S., creating tens of thousands of jobs right here in our country. Doge has already saved, on record, you, the American people, an estimated whopping $65 billion, and that number is expected to go up dramatically. Federal employees are officially back in the office after years of lackluster remote work. 75,000 plus took a buyout offer, and America's great meritocracy is now making a comeback. Even the CEO of J.P. Morgan is now praising Trump and Doge for taking on America's out-of-control bureaucracy. This is all really good news, and President Trump's approval ratings are through the roof on top of it. But if you have a terminal case of Trump derangement syndrome, this is a nightmare for you come to life. And now top Democrats, they just can't help themselves. They lash out morning, noon, and night, including the party's rising star, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Here's her from earlier today.
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Off.
That's it.
So enlightening, so productive from the party you love. Now, unfortunately, that's about as measured and as eloquent as, it gets across the Democratic Party. Inside the Capitol, Congressman Hank Johnson, remember, he's the one that famously speculated the island of Guam might capsize and tip over, is now fantasizing about President Trump getting arrested by U.S. Marshals. Take a look.
If a president willfully failed or refused to comply with a court ruling, they could be held in contempt of court theoretically, but it would be up to the U.S. Marshals Service, which is a part of the Justice Department, to be the enforcement arm for the federal courts. Is that correct?
Your hypothetical would have to play itself out.
It would be the U.S. Marshals who fall under the Department of Justice who would have to carry out the contempt order.
I can't help it. Every time I see this guy, I think of Guam is going to tip over. Anyway, it's funnier and gets funnier. And it also gets worse. Another left-wing member of Congress is now asking this age-old question posed by Democrats for centuries. Take a look.
We can't let them deport the millions of families across this country who have been doing the work that keeps our economy going every day. If you look at the food that's on your table, think about who picked it. If you look at your homes, think about who built them. If you look at your vulnerable elders and your kids, think about who's taking care of them.
Well, the more things change, the more they do stay the same. Once again, the Democratic Party seems to value cheap labor above all else. As it turns out, this is not the party of compassion. Instead, this is a hate-filled group of radicalized socialist statists who will say and do anything for status, money, power. It's all about them. In fact, according to the Free Beacon, left-wing groups, oh, you heard all this weekend about all these protests going on in red districts and how they were angry and lashing out at Republican lawmakers. And they're so against the Department of Government Efficiency. And that's all that the mainstream media mob talked about. Poll after poll, however, shows just the opposite. Like we showed you last night, the Harvard-Harris poll, which found 77% of Americans support an effort to eliminate waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption. At the very same time, far-left Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, Rhode Island, now facing scrutiny after reportedly playing a key role in sending millions of taxpayer dollars to his own wife's environmental organization. Oh, it looks like the good old boy Swamp is still alive and well. That has to be taken care of, too. Now, Democrats are much more worried about Trump and Musk following the money. Take a look.
You have ideas about how to interrupt what feels like something that we have not experienced since the Civil War in terms of the threat to our republic.
Well, it's certainly the case that we understand the scale of the threat. That can't be doubted. The CBC, which I'm a part of, definitively understands the scale of the threat. Our communities have been under siege, as you pointed out, since before the Civil War.
We need help, okay? We need reinforcement. Yeah. And we need all of you to stand with us. We simply cannot do this alone.
I think what President Trump is doing is essentially putting extortionist pressure on a vulnerable ally that is fighting for its life.
You could pee on my leg, but don't tell me it's rain. And Trump is raining on America.
It's no wonder congressional Democrats are suffering now from the lowest approval rating in history. Now even Jon Stewart, so frustrated with his own party, apparently accidentally hurt himself during a fit of rage. Take a look.
Can it be? The companies we subsidize with billions of dollars are allowing us the privilege to negotiate the price of 10 of their drugs? And 10 is all of them, right? It would be embarrassing if it was a small drop in the bucket and that the American people didn't expect that we should negotiate for all their f***ing drugs because we've already paid for it with our subsidies. Come on! It's fine.
I just want to know, did he need stitches or not? I hope he's okay. Where did Democrats go from here? Is there anyone in the party who's going to actually work with the president for the good of the country?